Hi, Roberta. Thank you so much for joining this podcast episode. Really appreciate it. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, and you?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to have a conversation with you and talk about the topic we have in our hand, which is whatever happens, so happens for a reason. So, and there is always a good reason. And we oftentimes, the moment things happen, we don't realize that, and we just see that there's good in it. We always think like everything's going bad and not my way. So we'll go through that. And before that, I'd love to know more about yourself. What do you do? How you help people? And you talked about you're a counselor. What exactly you do?
Okay. All right. Well, I'm a counselor. I'm a licensed counselor, and of course, I'm in America. I'm in the Midwest. I'm in Dallas, Texas. So I'm in Texas as well. And I provide as a counselor. Provide skills. That's how I got the tools. So I provide skills that help you live,
Mm,
like coping skills. If there is communication skills needed, if there's life skills, paying your bills on time. It sounds simple, but some people really don't have that. They
yeah.
have to have helps them figure that part out.
All right, that's great. So you wanted to talk about that topic, which is things happens for a reason, and we tend to believe happens for a good reason. But what's your belief in it? Do you think anything happens for a good reason, or it's oftentimes is a bad reasons?
Okay. Well, I heard what you said before, that things do happen, and sometimes not the way we want them to happen. And as far as a topic, I think that we have to be, and the reason why I brought that subject up is because of mindfulness. And what mindfulness is appreciating what's happening now. And
Yeah.
a lot of times now, the living in the now can be painful. It can be discouraging. It sometimes it can be even heartbreaking, depending on what it is. And I'm saying that to say, though, we have to learn how to live in the now because that is our road at that time. So if we're on a road and things happen, that's not all the way where we're getting to. So we're just going through. We're transitioning through. I'll say through life. It's a
Mm.
general. So the I guess what I wanted the message was is that don't get caught up in where you're at right now because things do happen, but you're on your way to somewhere. So you got to look at life like that. And then, some people say, well, what is the lesson in this? So it's okay to look for the lesson
Mm.
and the lesson, but to continue on your journey.
Yeah, and that's another interesting part, which is when things happens, that particular moment, we just screaming, shouting, and things like that. Could be somebody lost their loved ones, and it's not easy that particular time why that happened. I'll give you some background on it because I lost both of my parents age 13, and I was asking the question why that actually happened, right? And couldn't figure it out first 2 years because of I was severe depression because I was heartbroken, as well as like I wasn't thinking right that time. And then later in my life, I realized whatever happened for a good reason. And if they both of my parents didn't die, I probably moved to UK. I was stayed where I've been from, Bangladesh. And there is another aspect of it. I wouldn't grown as how I grown for myself. I wouldn't know how as I felt losing someone, a loved one, and that actually built my muscle. If right now is someone I lose, it's not gonna be affect me compared to what it affected me at the beginning of it. Now, even though my own death, when I think about I don't get scared of that. Whenever it happens, I'm always trying to be ready for it, and that actually made a lot of sense. And there is a other aspect of it, when my mom died just after my dad died, within like a 3 months apart. So when I think about why my mom died, that gives me like a more clarity. Like my mom couldn't live without my dad because she used to love him like so much. So that gives me another reason. Like she wouldn't be happy like living on her own. So she died. So it make totally sense. Like it's good for her as well. Like she wouldn't make it anyway. Like even though she's living, she would be depressed and all the time like not feeling herself. So we wouldn't see that like in a particular moment we will like question the things and it doesn't seem like it's working. When I lost my job as well, like I got fired from my job, and then next day like I got another call from my friend like he's leaving his job and he told me like do you wanna get that job? And I was like, all right, like whatever, I'll take it. Like I just got fired from my job tonight, so I'll take it. And I went to the same place and I worked there. I worked there for 6 months. And my boss told me like, hey, do you wanna buy this place because I want to sell that. I cannot run it anymore. And I asked my brother like, hey, there is an opportunity to start a business. Like, if you want, we can both buy it together and start our own business. So this is our business journey started. So if I didn't get the fire from that job, I wouldn't be landing in this job. And without that, like I didn't get the opportunity because we didn't have the kind of money. So because that guy knew me, like my previous boss, he gave me like a 1 year to pay off the whole balance. So if I was just to go on a random place and want to buy a place, it's like why would I give you a loan or like a time period? So whatever
Right.
happens, happens for a good reason, isn't it? So that time, like I didn't know, like I was cursing my boss first 2, 3, 6 months, like the previous one who fired me, and then after that, when I realized, like if he didn't do that, like I wouldn't be where I'm today, like I wouldn't be my own boss. So there is a reason, but that a particular moment we don't see that. So how do someone can be positive on the time being when things are not positive, things are going against you, and you feel like everything is ended?
I think, I want to first say that I really appreciate you sharing your story, and because that is one of the most heartbreaking situations you could have. Actually, probably one that would end a lot of people rather than them see, okay, I am still here and I can still build off of it. And then the other one was simply with the working, that was simply what I was getting to, is that if we somehow allow our creator to move us around the way we're supposed to be moved around, if we could just see ourselves as maybe like objects on a board, uh, and he's moving us around strategically. And sometimes our thoughts are not really what the creator's thoughts are, you
Yeah.
see. And so we have to be aware of that. And I know some people, you know what, Roberta, so many bad things have happened to me. I don't even believe in a God. And I can respect that as well, but it doesn't even take away that he still has moved you around something, because we didn't create ourselves. So
Mm,
let's be honest with that. I'm not that brilliant, and just as you just shared, I've had my share of heartaches. So sometimes I wouldn't even be able to keep this thing going called life. If it was up to me, I probably would end it. Or some people be probably, may not be a couple of days, or it may not be water in certain oceans because it
mm.
was a Roberta, just
Yeah.
so I think it's remarkable that you could see how your journey had it had something to do with you, but nothing to do with you. So and the reason why I say that, because it still got you where he, where you were supposed to be, where you were lined up to be with your life. Even for us, even I'll say this, even for us to be having this conversation is not lightly, because what are the odds when you look at it? You're a
Mm,
mathematician, you say, what are the odds? What are the odds that I would talk to Roberta in Dallas, Texas at 2:50 her time, 8:50 your time? What are these odds? You see, so even when we try to make sense of it, it doesn't. So going back to your question, how do you cope with that? What are some of the tools you can use? Well, A, try to be unsubjective, meaning not to just look at the situation. Try to look at it as okay, this is what it looks like, but it's a possibility. There's other possibilities, and try to horn into those other possibilities. And even if you can't do it as grand on a grand scheme, let me make it through. I used to tell my clients, if I can't make it through just an hour a day, if I can't make it through a day, let me make it through an hour.
Yeah.
If I can't make it through an hour, let me make it through my minutes. Now, the trick with that, once you made it through a couple of minutes, once you made it through a couple of days, guess what? You can continue.
Yeah.
Because you do the same thing you did the last time. You continue doing it, right?
Right.
Don't stop. You continue. So continue, and then continue to look for what it is that is in this in that lesson or in this life lesson. Because what I found is that oftentimes we go in a circle.
Yeah.
So we often go into a circle and we find yourself right back at the same place that we were supposed to learn that lesson if we didn't. If we did learn it, then we go on almost like it's going to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah, there is always a possibility, like how you looking at your life, and that defines it, like how much you learn from that lessons, right? Like that always things happens for a reason, like we're talking about. But it depends, like how you viewing it. Like, are you taking a positive way or like a negative way? So if you're taking a negative way, majority people taking a negative way, that's why a lot of depression. That's why there a lot of anxiety. Like why and she did something to me, like why she break up with me, why he divorced me, why he cheated with me, why this I lose the money on the business purpose, and whatever maybe is like a why, and that's why we cannot move on. And also like our present moment is no happiest. We're always thinking about the future, like what could we go wrong, and at the same time on the present moment, like we are just carrying our baggage from the past, like whatever happened, and cannot move on from it. Like obviously we made a mistake. Let's say the business deal we did and didn't go as we expected. Yeah, what mistake you have learned from it, and don't do that next time. Same with your like a relationship. If you didn't find you like a perfect one, and then you need to ask like what did I do when I go into the dating process? Did I ask the right question? Did I choose like a right person? Like what I need to define, like what's my value, and why I need to do like for the next one. So that should make so much sense like when you go through it. But thing is like we don't do that. Like we stuck on the like why that happened, it shouldn't happen, why is me, why I got cancer, why I lost a job, why the business didn't work out. And that's like around some circle, like a continuous going carrying us, like you mentioned. So what do you do like in terms of like, even though you made some kind of mistakes, even though things doesn't go you expected, like not to like hold on to your past?
Well, first of all, let me share with you this. As you stated, I have quite a humble beginning as well. My mother had me when she was 15. My grandparents raised me. They were quite old then,
Hmm.
so they also, they're deceased. They all both are passed. But I also was a single parent for a long time. So a divorced parent. So even with a relationship ending, any type of relationship is a devastation. It's a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
So saying that, um, first of all, I always look for right now. Because see, there's nothing I can get back from yesterday. Even if if it's my fault, to be honest, I can't go back into that day and change it. I just can't do that. It's not realistic. So I try not to look back.
Hmm.
And when I have clients who are going through devastation, like death of a parent, things that are very devastating, very traumatizing.
Yeah.
I always tell them the main thing: don't look back. Don't let your brain look back, because our brain coordinates all of this, right?
Yeah.
And so you have a bargaining, you have a, oh, I could have did this better. I remember that day I screamed, they screamed, and I didn't see it was going to end up here, and I could have just did better that day. You can't go back.
Mm.
There's no such thing as going back. So what do? You got to live now. Now, going back to what I said, even if it's just living in the moment.
Yeah.
See, so it's not putting a whole lot of stress on you, but it is learning a different way of thinking, because you're not harboring those thoughts, rather they be negative, or rather they be guilt, or or self-loathing. You're not harboring that. You're living now. So learning how to live right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, even if it's just hearing the buzzing that goes on in our fluorescent lights, or just hearing a bird chirping by your window.
Mm.
Sometimes it's just simplest things, and it's okay, and to know, hey, it's okay for me to feel like this.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm okay. But to harbor it down, to stop your brain, because that's your first thing. I can't look back. There's nothing there. So I can't go back, because that road is gone. You gotta look at it like that. There's no road to even go back. So what I have to do now is be here. Now the trick with tomorrow's the same way. But the only trick that is, it is a road. It's not that long. So you can't really say, okay, well, I'm gonna jump on this road right now. No, when you're going through a traumatic experience, practice just right now, being in the right now, and redoing your thoughts, even if it's just breathing.
Right.
So I divert my thoughts. That's my main thing. Then I have to tell myself, and often this is the truth. I tell myself, you know what? You are in control. Because a lot of times you feel hopeless, or you feel like, man, that was out of my control. So I have to tell myself, when I'm feeling really low, or like, wow, this is spiraling way. This thing has went way out of my control, period. I have to stop, and I have to put myself in that time and say, you know what? You're in control. Roberta, you are in control. You do have choice,
Right.
and the choices are in front of you now. And that gives me the opportunity to stop there, not continue the thought.
Mm.
And call, it's called positive thinking, or self-talk, using self-talk skills.
Yeah.
And it's okay to talk to yourself. Some people say, well, hey, don't answer, right? But it's okay to talk yourself through something, because sometimes you need something to talk you through it, because we have thoughts that we have ways of thinking that we've learned.
Yeah.
Maybe grandmama, maybe it's mom, maybe it's dad, and it may be chaotic, or it may be thinking, oh, it's just the end of the world. If that happened, the mailman didn't bring our mail, so that's the end. So we get those thoughts, and we assume those thoughts from the people that we've learned from. So we have to reprogram our brain into thinking. For one, to stop thinking it, stop going down those different alternative thought patterns. Two, to refocus. Now we have to give our brain the prompts, and we have to know. So whenever I'm feeling really low, that's really my go-to. I do something right now.
Yeah.
That away from it. If I'm having an argument with someone, I don't go back in to argue. there, that's not, because for one, if we're both upset, what are we gonna get out of it?
Yeah.
Is that, if it's still pretty hot topic, it's not gonna get handled most likely that time. So I pull myself out of it. I do breathing, I do meditation, I do things that are gonna bring me into right now. I had a sister die not too long ago, 8 years ago. And that was one thing that saved my life
So sorry
was,
for your loss. Yeah.
well, thank you. And I as well. But that was one thing that did save my life, was practicing mindfulness, rethinking my thoughts. Because like I said, you automatically go back to,
Yeah.
man, I remember that day, I probably was the most crummiest sister ever on that day. There's nothing I could do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
We do
so
control that. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, Roberta, thank you so much for your time today. I know like we can carry on with the whole conversation and for hours long, but we are limited in this time. So those who's listening, if anyone wants to learn more about yourself, your business, so where they can find you.
Okay. Well, I'm Roberta the Thetoollady. I am local. I'm local, not local, but I international. I'm on an international podcast called Roberta the Lady. Also Taboo Chronicles, which we do discuss mental health topics in our community. I'm a big mental health advocate, big advocate for social rights, big advocate for special services, special needs individuals. I'm an advocate of humanity. So you can always follow me, any of them, Instagram, Facebook, all the social medias. And where I'm also located on YouTube on a platform called Power.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing those information. So I wish you best of luck with your business, your personal life. Thank you so much for sharing your journey as well. And yeah, thank you for tonight.
All right. Well, thank you. Good night.
You're most welcome. So that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode with Miss Roberta today. So I hope you enjoyed our conversation. If anyone wants to learn more about her, you can visit her social media platforms or you can find her YouTube channel or the podcast. So until then, talk to you in the next episode. Take care.